Ooh, extremely secret recording, extremely secret stream starting. Here we go, yo, well, what's a scenario? As the scenario is the fact we have a catch-up stream today. Catch-up stream. Today's itinerary. Drawing for as long as it takes to finish the thumbnail art. There you go. Run out and 1 man ad. Do I expect anyone to be here? Absolutely not. This is like me streaming 5 hours 5 hours later than I usually do. It's a weekday, you know. It's all sorts of inconvenient timings for everyone. But this is for me to be able to finish off this thumbnail art. Is the stream even on? I don't know. Surprisingly, I feel like I have more energy in this stream than I do for other ones. We know for sure she's not going to be here. None-word. Probably, sadly, not going to be here. Probably going to be like, what time is it right now for them? Like, pretty early in the morning. See, this is an awkward thing, because I don't think any of my US viewers, nor any of my, viewers in the future time zones are going to be here, because it's such an awkward time, you know? At the same time, I didn't know Northern 9 is streaming right now. Is this his usual stream time? I think so. How does that work? How do most people watch your streams when most of the time it would be during school days or working hours? I don't know. I guess that kind of depends on what his audience is. I also didn't notice that someone followed me 3 days ago. Wish all VR. I didn't even realise. Thank you for following. Yeah, there's your preliminary thing. Anyway, yes. So, I don't expect anyone to be here. That's a-okay with me. Because we're here to draw. And I'm here to sing. Because I've got a lot of Disney songs stuck in my head for some reason. Most notably, At Last I See the Light. What's the one in Tangled called? At Last I See the Light, or just I See the Light? Tangled, I See the Light. Is I See the Light? A lot of songs about seeing the light, you know. Also makes me think of I see the light shining deep inside. That's a My Little Pony song right there. This might be honestly a pretty optimal time for me to usually stream if I do stream at this point, because I think this is like afternoonish evening time is generally when I have the most energy, I think. I also noticed, like, the first thing I saw was like, what on earth happened here? Apparently I've deleted the shrine pillar here, and I never even noticed. I don't know if I did that just now, if I did that on the actual thumbnail, but we're here to restore it. And yeah, I don't actually think it'll take me that long to finish a thumbnail. I would guess it's going to take me about an hour and a half. Because I actually think the biggest part of this is probably going to be drawing the yokai, which is going to be a bit of a nuisance. But shading it shouldn't be too bad. I think this is okay for the background level of shading. It should feel like pretty whimsical, and if anything, I might actually do something a little bit sneaky. I might blur the background to make it feel more whimsically dreamlike, but that's okay. We're not here to think about that now. We are instead here to think about shading D first and foremost. Tails? Okay. And sing random songs. So shadows, let's do this. We know red is going to be our shadow colour. And this is a good warm-up again because I have my drawing club with my friends on Friday, resuming. And I'm going to be very out of practice if I don't get a lot more drawing practice in. Okay, that seems like a good shadow colour for me, so let's rock with that. We actually might do it reductively. I'm trying to think how this is going to work. Even though it is upside down, we are still going to shade like this, as if it's the right way up, because that's how it would be if it was reflected. But yeah, what songs have I got stuck in my head right now? Last I See the Light. That was one of the songs I did in karaoke. Ooh, that's weird. What weird texture. I did in karaoke. Actually, I haven't spoken about it in Animal Crossing. Yeah, I did karaoke in Japan with one of my friend's siblings. It was a great time. But because I can speak Japanese, not fluently, conversationally, they were like, oh yeah, let's sing these songs in Japanese. And I was like, sure. I don't know how any of these songs, like, lyrics are in Japanese, but thankfully they had furigana there, so I could read it. And that's one of the songs we sang. And I will say, I See the Light. Is it the best duet in Disney? I don't know. A Whole New World is really good. But I See the Light is also really good. It might be my favourite at least. I'm not sure if it's objectively the best. I think that's going to be a little bit hard to quantify necessarily, but okay, the shading is going to be pretty straightforward because it's directly above. But yeah, can I remember how it goes? The only line I remember goes Kagayaiteru, which just means like it's shining, I guess. It really is a gorgeous song to sing. Because I love a sorry, like, I don't know, we're going on. I didn't even talk this much during Animal Crossing. What's happening? I love the way Rapunzel hits. Well, actually, I don't know who the voice actress is for Rapunzel, but I love the way she hits the line in the last chorus part when it's like the two of them singing together. When it goes, and at last I see the light. Everything goes, and it's like a fog has lifted. And at last I see the light. And then Rapunzel goes, and it's like the sky is new. That's me cheating in falsetto. I'm also singing it down an octave. I don't know if I can hit that in the actual key. Hold on. And at last. Oh, is that too high? And at last I see the light. And it's like the sky is new. Is new. See, this is a brilliant thing about no one being here, is I can just do this and no one's going to be affected. Probably. I do to say I have one viewer, which is suspicious. I don't know who on earth that is, but I'm not going to go check. If I like it, I like it. That's just how it goes, you know. And at last I see the light. I also had a bit of Moana song stuck in my head, although I don't know the lyrics to that one very well because as mentioned, I've only watched Moana very recently and listened to the songs recently for the first time. On the flight back from Japan, actually, not on flight there, I think. What can I say except you're welcome? We're giving them the moon and the sky, or something like that. What can I say except you're welcome? How do I want my shadows? Probably something like that? Yeah, I think that looks okay. And then we'll have soft shadow going like this, downwards. And what other body shadows? We're going to have this shadow over here. Probably I should turn off the foreground because I can't actually see what's going on very well here. I don't know why that took me so long to do, but there you go. I must say, I love her nails. These nails are designed in this. Like being the same as the tails in the background. I should absolutely ask for this sort of coloration next time I get my nails done. Or see if I can do it myself. I should get into like doing my own like more fancy nails with nail lacquer or something. Or gel nails even. How does this look? It's probably gonna look more like this. I think a lot of it's actually gonna be in white now I think about it. This one will probably be a bit more just like the edge. Whoa. Is that good for the shadows? I think that's probably good for the body shadows. I think we'll probably put a little bit here. And of course we'll shade the nose. We'll do that. Nice! Okay, clothing shadows. Do I think this is a good colour for it? I think that works. Would I do it destructively? I don't know, I'm just a big fan of doing the first layer of shadows destructively and then the second layer constructively. Because I think doing it this way around allows me to be a bit more generous with my first layer of shadows. And actually put more in rather than sort of just not, you know? I feel like it's too easy to be a bit too reductive with the shadows you put in on the first layer, when really you do want it to cover a lot. At least with my shading style. Oh, I missed a bit of a body here. So I think it just encourages me to shade in the way I want to shade. No, we'll save that for highlight layer. I also think maybe have the shadows free like this a little bit and then shade underneath. I also don't know why I didn't shade the collarbones. That seems like a bit of a mistake shade. I don't even know what that part's called. And then drop a little bit of a shadow underneath. So shadows can go like this. This would probably just all be in light, to be honest. Okay, we do this. I do realise I did think I made Dee a bit bustier than she usually is in this. Oh, but so be it. She is meant to be relatively flat. That's okay. Let's see. Let us continue. As this little fold here is going to be a bit difficult. I actually don't think this part would be in the light because it should be curved over, right? But I think it would look weird if I didn't put it in the light, so I'm going to put it in the light. Oh gosh, as much as I love this brush, it's significantly thicker than I expected to be a lot of the time. Okay, which does make it a little bit awkward when shading things which I expect to be a bit more thinner. So this is the underside, so I think I probably should be in the dark, which is going to be really weird. Okay, but all of this will be in the light. And this will come down like this. We'll have a darker sort of shadow come up here to be like that crease. And I'm going to think how this is going to work. We'll probably have it like this. Does that seem okay? That seems weird in a way I cannot describe. And I think maybe it's because this fold here looks a bit strange. It still looks a bit strange, but I'm not going to be too fussed about it, to be honest. Can I be a perfectionist in this sort of thing? Okay. Do that. Is that part in light? I think this part would probably be in light. Probably some soft lights going on here. Speckled. Specular lighting. And this part would probably all be in light. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Because it's not that far down. It's not like it's on the underside where it would be in darkness. Although this part probably will have a shadow coming across, and this part probably more so only in the middle. And I will do the shadow crease here because why not? In fact, I might put another crease in as well. I actually really like the design I've done for these clothings here. It looks very pretty. And thankfully it's detailed enough that it actually feels like it gives the clothes a lot of dimension. Because I often found like, if it's just like a plain t-shirt, you have to do a lot of shading on it otherwise to make it feel like it's got a little bit of dimension. But here, because the patterns do a lot of the carrying, we can do a lot simpler shapes and silhouettes for the shading, I think. And that is beneficial in its own right, and I'm sure it has its own demerits too. Okay, but start with the big shapes. Get these half tones in. Over here, this one would all be in shadow because of where it is. And then let's figure out what's going on with the rope. that. I think it'll be a little bit of shadow here. It's okay, and I think it would be half shadows over here. And then we need very thin shadows to be underneath. Oh, to be underneath it, right? Nice. Okay. That looks pretty good to me. Let's do the tails as well while we're at it. This should probably be pretty straightforward, I think. So I think a lot of the tails are just going to be like, ooh, this is the shading. I guess we could do fur shading on it, but that seems like a bit excessive. I don't know, maybe not. We could do simple fur shading, you know, where we do brushy sort of patterns like this to help sell that silhouette. Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that. We don't want it to be too much, lest it does distract away from the main star of the show, being Dee herself. I will need to go back and fill in these tails, which I've not filled in so properly, you know. So let's do this. Oh, I just flipped everything upside down. Here's a story all about how I flipped my life turned upside down. Okay. So at this point, I wish I knew the Moana songs a bit better so I could sing them now. I've been staring at the water, never really knowing why, something like that. I wish I could be a perfect daughter. I mean, I can't remember that part. But then it goes, every road I make, every path I take, always brings me back. And then it goes, what is wrong with me? Like, someone sings every other line from How Far I'll Go. Da, 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 it calls me. No one knows how far it goes. You know, actually, credit to the Moana song being a main character song which doesn't have crazy belting notes in it, you know? What's the highest note in that song? Probably towards the end. I can't even remember if it has a high note at the end. I don't think it does. And no one knows how far it. What note's that? D, maybe? I think that's C. How far it. Maybe it's like a C sharp, I don't know. I say this without perfect pitch. I also don't know if what I sang was a middle C. Mind you, so I think I need to make these brush strokes bigger for the foxtail. I don't think it's giving the effect I quite wanted. It works on some of the tails, it works a little less well on some of the other tails, I think. Okay, I think that's fine. Let's fill in the tails as well. As it does turn out that some of these, shall we say, have not exactly got quite the filling that I wanted. Very much because of the bittiness of this brush. I wonder if I'd just be better off just doing that. Inverting and just colouring in like that. I don't know. Will this look better? Oh. Let's make sure I'm using the right colour here. Okay. Let's make sure I'm also not filling in things which I shouldn't be filling in. Yeah, that looks a lot better. That's good. Damukitsu, hello, welcome. Apologies for last time for you coming in and just as the stream is ending. You're here this time though, in good time. It's not been too long since I've been working on this thumbnail art. But how are you doing? You doing well? Certainly hope you are. Nah, it's fine, don't worry about that. I'm okay. I'm glad to hear so. I've just been talking about for the past few minutes. I've just been trying to remember the lyrics to Moana's "How Far I'll Go," because it's an annoying thing where I've kind of got it in my head, but not enough that I can remember the lyrics because I haven't listened to it enough. What is wrong with me? See the light, na 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 na. It calls me. No one knows how far I'll go. Da 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 da. It calls me. How are you enjoying ISAT so far in Stars and Time? I'm enjoying it a lot. I think I've not gotten to the parts where it feels like, weirdly enough, because I feel like I've played a lot of it already. I feel like I haven't got to the part yet where it's like, this is the juicy part, you know? I still feel like I'm in the setup sort of portion of a game, which is weird to say. But I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to get my heart ripped out. I can't wait to have like absolutely melancholic memories and see, oh my gosh, what's his name? I haven't recorded it again since I've been back from holiday because before my holiday, I don't know if you've been watching the episodes, but I basically couldn't find a save point for ages. So normally I try and record in sessions of 2. I ended up recording in like a session of 5 or something. So I ended up recording a lot before the holiday, and I still have episodes coming out from before the holiday. So I haven't come back to visit it yet, but I'm excited to. I'm excited to. Who's my favourite character? I hear you don't ask, but I will answer. I wish I remembered their names. Like, hold on. Can I remember any of their names right now? It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I played. Oh my gosh, it's highly embarrassing. I actually can't remember any of their names. I think it'll come to me. There's always a save point at the start of a pause. Yes, but that is something I did realise afterwards when I walked backwards, and I was like, oh, there's a save point. Because for some reason in my mind, I think it's because it happened to me in the prologue, which makes sense in the prologue, is I exited the save point door, but I couldn't go back into the save point door. But at this point I could, and then when I discovered that, I was like, I'm an idiot. I don't know why I never tried that. But I was very, very confused for a long while. Maybe we should do a pink second shadow layer. Is that a good idea? I don't know. But yeah, I've been having a good time with it. And I'm excited to see what, because I think it's definitely a game very ripe with potential storytelling, you know. Oh, you know what? My favourite character. What, is her name Loop? Is that it? The weird mythical deity who you meet under the tree. That's my favourite character so far. Yeah, Loop. Now, I don't know if that's a good or a bad favourite character to have in the context of the whole story. Maybe they're secretly evil, and then you're sitting here like, oh no, she doesn't know, she doesn't know. But so far, I think their charming quirkiness has won me over. They give me the impression of not like an indifferent deity, because obviously they're trying to be helpful, but like a, you know, like an out of touch deity is like not quite got the same sort of gravity of a situation. Now, the thing I'm most worried about when I come back to it is like, can I remember the voices I gave the characters? That's going to be the most challenging part. Because even when I was playing, I was like, I'm forgetting most of the voices I'm doing, except for the main cast. Even then, I think I forgot what I get. What's her name? Is it Mirabelle? Hold on, let me look up a character's name, so I'm not just referring to him in my head as picturing the image, which I can't quite, you know, evoke to you. I remember Bonnie's name for some reason. I can't remember the others. Sifrin, that's it. Sifrin, who are the other characters? Main characters, here we go. Bonnie, Isabel, that's it. It is Mirabelle. Oh, Odile, and Sifrin. Oh yeah, I see you typed it out. I think out of the main cast, my favourite character is Odile. Or Odile. I don't know how you're necessarily meant to say it. You have a favourite character, Damikitsu? Oh, what have I done? Here we go. Have I missed any parts of her body? I don't think so. Do I want to shade the eyes? That's a really good question. Maybe. I should probably make a palette layer actually while we're at it. Before I forget. I think I probably do want to shade the eyes a little bit. Something like that I think will work just fine. In a way, it makes her sort of look like she's got the more like sort of fluttering eyes, I think. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm looking at it, her head looks really big, I think, compared to the rest of her body. But I'm not going to change that now because that's going to be way too much hassle to try and fix, so... Sorry, she's just going to have to... She's going to have to deal with the fact she's got a slightly larger head than usual. Okay, simple shapes. Keep your shapes simple. So like this, and then, I don't know, do I want to put a fold? I might put a fold in it. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't know, all of them are kind of relatable in different ways. To me, I guess if I had to pick a fave, it would probably be Sifrin though. That's fair. We've all got their own little quirks or whatever, and highlights flaws and challenges which make them engaging characters. Yeah, if anything, I think I'm definitely most excited for the potential of this game. Because I think it's got a very nice premise, you know. Because I think in general, like, you know, this sort of like... Time travel in itself is a very interesting premise, but it's also a very broken premise a lot of the time. Like it's too strong. But this is kind of like a Groundhog Day sort of thing, where it is time travel, but it's a sort of like a... But at least I can make my predictions of what I think it's going to be like. But it's going to slowly turn into a, like... How much is Sifrin willing to sacrifice her own, I suppose, sanity to get the perfect quote-quote outcome sort of way. And part of me hopes it does get kind of philosophical. I feel like it's a game premise which is just absolutely ripe for it. Some sort of like dehumanization in a way, or as they slowly lose sense of who they are, having lived countless more lifetimes than their friends. I also say zoning out is also a really great mechanic for skipping dialogue. Great diegetic way to include it. What have I missed? Oh, I didn't shade that part of the clothing. There you go, keep it simple. How far I'll go. Did I shade? I did shade, okay. What other parts of her clothing should I shade? Probably the socks make a lot of sense, huh? Bit of a darker layer across here. Oh, man, I'm not going to do anything too crazy. And here I actually got to give some texture in the first place. Okay, nice. Far I'll go. Oh, gotta look up lyrics now to how far I'll go. It's gonna drive me insane trying to sing a song without actually remembering the lyrics. How far I'll go lyrics. I've been staring at the edge of the water long as I can remember. Except for I can't remember the tune of his part. Never really knowing why. Another line art, excuse me. I wish I could be a perfect daughter. But I come back to the water. No matter how hard I try. Every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, where I long to be. See the line where the sky meets, see the line where the sky meets the sea. It calls me, and no one knows how far it goes. If the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me, one day I'll know. If the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me, one day I'll know. If I go, there's just no telling how far I'll go. I know everybody on this island seems so happy on this island. That's a lyric I'm actually not too fond of. Everyone on this island is happy on this island? Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote the song, right? Come on, Lin-Manuel. Your lyrics are fantastic with your harp and slant rhymes. You're rhyming island out here with island? What's that about? Could I do better? No, but I didn't even turn off the text layer. I guess I didn't need to because it doesn't overlap with D in the slightest, but still. Right, in the slightest. Oh no, it does completely avoid her. Okay, I think that's good for shadows. Now highlights going to be interesting because I don't know if I want that stronger highlights. 2 minutes, I think I want gradient highlights. But we'll see. Like, what happens if we do this? Okay, that's not really what I wanted to do. I would like foreground to... I think I want this and I want... Actually, maybe that might be enough by itself, to be honest. Actually, probably I should draw it in. I've always kind of liked the concept of time travel. I remember enjoying watching anime like Steins Gate and some others. I never actually watched Steins Gate. I had a friend back in high school who really, really liked it, though. And I've heard it's good. But yeah, time travel is a very fascinating storytelling technique, I would say. What's my favourite time travel movie? That's an interesting question, which you didn't ask, but I will answer. Or maybe I should say property. I guess spoilers, if you haven't watched, I think 20-year-old anime at this point, but Madoka. I loved how, in some ways, how it's done in that one. I won't say any more because it's kind of spoilers, I suppose, but it explains a lot about a character. And the revelation, when it happened, made me go, whoa. I don't know. Do I want... I've watched Prela Magi Madoka Magica. It's so good. Okay, fantastic. Then that means I will talk freely. If someone has been spoiled, then they're watching a VOD, then, you know, sorry, so be it. Go watch it. It's good even knowing spoilers, but yeah. That used to be my favourite anime of all time, I would say. It's really good. But yeah, I absolutely loved it on that revelation of why Homura seems to know like exactly what's going on, why she's so stoic and everything. And seeing that transformation from that first time she made her wish to every other single reset backwards, and how it slowly transformed her. Oh my gosh, loved it. Is this too simple? I think I will do a rim light as well, actually. So I think this probably... What? Oh, that's not a body layer. This is a body layer. I think this probably should have a rim light. Some sort of sketchy rim light, you know? Just to really sort of sell this ethereal thing. Yeah, I remember actually a lot from my first reaction of watching Madoka Magica, because I think that was the first anime I watched where I was just like completely hooked me. Because there were a couple of anime I watched before, you know, I watched Lucky Star and I watched Oran, High School Host Club. You might say why those ones, I don't know. Which are totally fine animes, but they're very much more light-hearted, I suppose, like slice of life in a way. Well, I don't know if Oran would be... Well, Oran's weirdly, it's a parody of conventional tropes, which is weird, but I watched it and enjoyed it so much because it's like, I don't even know what the tropes are at this point. But that was the first time I watched something and just went, whoa. Like in, what was it, episode 3 or whatever, when Mami dies. I was like, you can do that? I was kind of young when I watched it, to be fair, but yeah, then it became basically my favourite anime for, I don't know, a good part of a decade until Odd Taxi came along, and now Odd Taxi is my favourite anime. Hello! Who is this? No, not Centauri. You're a Centauri. You're absolute value of Centauri. Hello, welcome. I'm drawing a thumbnail art for the May thumbnail for the streams, because I haven't done a lot of streaming in May because I was on holiday in Japan. How are you doing today, eh? I'm doing well, How about yourself? I don't know how long you've been chilling here. We're currently talking about time travel, I think, in media, but I just realised I'm doing rim lights. Those are not rim lights. I'm doing well, thank you for asking. I'm glad to hear so. Yeah, what do you think about time travel as a storytelling technique? Also, nice art, thank you. Thank you. I actually quite like this art, this one art. That's a good question. I was trying to think, yeah, because I was trying to think of what media properties I like which had time travel, or like had a really like interesting perspective on time travel. Also watched some anime like Higurashi no Nakakoro ni and Made in Abyss because of my brother. I haven't watched Made in Abyss. I've watched the first episode and I need to get around to finishing it because I hear it's so good. Which one's Higurashi no? That's when angels cry, right? The horror one. Higurashi when they cry, yeah. I have seen actually quite a lot of Higurashi. I definitely was too young when I watched it. But yeah, I have to watch Made in Abyss at some point. Like, finish it. There's so many good ones which I need to watch. Made in Abyss is so peak, still my favourite anime? Whoa. Sell me. Well, okay, don't sell me on it because I'm really kind of sold on it because I don't know much about it. But that's it. That's exactly it, Damakitsu. Amazing world building. I hear it's like one of the best world building like in media properties like ever. So I can't remember, like, I think a friend showed me, like, one of the monsters or something in it, because I know it also, like, goes way darker than you initially expect or something. But I don't know how and I don't know in what way. I wish I remembered. I think it was some sort of monster which, like, steals voices or something. I don't remember. Because I did something in a D&D session. And then my friend who's watched Made in Abyss was like, it really reminded me of this monster from Made in Abyss. And I looked it up and I was like, that's cool. The storytelling and world building is still the best I've seen in anime. That's high praise. Well, now I have to go watch it. See, this is something I wanted to watch. Made in Abyss. And the other one which I've also wanted to watch recently is Freerun. Because I love the concept of Freerun, which is like as I understand it, again, I haven't watched it, so I don't know, but it's like, am I right now? Yes. It's just like this very old elf or something, and the difference in her perspective, I suppose, on things in general, because of her like almost immortal lifespan. I still need to start watching Freerun. That's another good one. Started watching it, the art's so amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason, I suppose, it's so renowned, so I'm just like, I've got to check it out at some point. When I will, I don't know, to be honest. I'm very bad when it comes to actually watching things. So I'll have to see, but I do intend to watch it at some point. I wonder if I want to do a reflected light here. I probably do. I just need to figure out where. Okay, reflected light, and I think we'll actually make it a. Oh, I should put on my palette before I forget. Did I use the same color for both? I might have used the same color for both. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Yes, Freerun. Yeah, I don't know. I think just conceptually, it seems like such a cool idea. In my mind. Just like, how does your life perspective change when you live for 1,000 years or something? I don't know how long she lives, so I don't know that much of a plot, but still. It's like, I mean, that's like another intriguing, not quite time travel, but more so, I suppose, time itself as a narrative technique. It's gonna be hard, I think, to do proper reflected light on here without making it look too odd. I didn't even do the rim light for the tails. Okay, I guess I'll just finish off a reflected light while I'm here then. What is wrong with me? It calls me. But yeah, on topic of that, I think time travel can be a good storytelling device. You got any favourite time travel stories? I think it's kind of hard to think of one off the top of my head, to be honest. The only one I can think of right now is Tenet. I didn't enjoy Tenet that much, to be honest. Well, okay, no, I enjoyed Tenet in parts. I liked certain scenes in Tenet, but I didn't like how things sort of strung together very well. Because I think the combat scenes of, I suppose, spoilers for a 5-year-old movie at this point, of him fighting, let's say, someone going in reverse through time is a really interesting concept. What is wrong with me? Yeah, it's a very subtle reflected light there. I think that's probably okay for shading for D. No, it's not. I haven't done a rim light. Well, her tails yet. Let's do that. I'm still unsure actually if I do want to draw the yokai in or not. I wonder if it's going to detract from a piece, but we'll see. Let's finish off a foreground and then we'll think about it. So that's D. I think probably I do want to have a sort of glow about her. Again, she should feel kind of ethereal. I like this colour. Then we filter, blur. Oh, filter, blur, Gaussian. Let's put it quite high. I'll put it up 60 or something. Put behind her. Probably we'll do linear light. No, I think soft light. Overlay. Add glow. Add glow. Turn down the opacity. That's too much. Just give her a soft glow. Then also, I think we'll do the colour bleed because again, I do a lot of things with very ethereal themings. My colour bleed is a great saviour. But I feel like a cooler concept that I enjoy more is the concept of alternate universes. That's also a cool one. Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? I love that movie. Also, hello to Mini Dearest. So it turns out when I stream at this very weird time, a lot easier for some people to join her. Cute heart, thank you, thank you. Let's see, merge selected layers. I've sadly not watched that before. Oh, Stream Elements telling me, Damakitsu, you've been following me for a year and 2 months. 4 days and 5 hours now. Congratulations. That's actually incredible. I can't believe I've been streaming for that long. So yes, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I would recommend it. It's a great movie. And it touches upon alternate universes. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a line which goes so hard in that movie, which I think hits me at like an emotional core that no other line I think has in media before. About, I think people will know the line. If I say laundry, people will know the line. If you've seen it, that's longer than I expected. I do remember having a conversation about alternate universes for around like 4 hours, I can't read. I love my theoretical science and such. What's it called? The movie is called, yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I followed 8 months and 3 days, man. That's crazy. In my mind, I'm just like, oh, I've only been streaming for 2 months. I didn't know you could do this. Watch time. You spent 0 seconds. Wait a minute. That can't be right. Yeah, I don't know. Alternate universe is a very interesting concept. Do you subscribe to the idea, I suppose, of infinite alternate universes? I can't believe you only watched 0 seconds. How have you not managed to watch any of this while being here? Methinks the watch time tracker might be a little bit broken. Either that or you're all ghosts. Actually, how crazy would that be if you just opened up a chat and not the stream because you're like, I'm here to chat. I'm not here to watch the art. I would respect it. I'd be like, that's crazy, but you do you. Okay, I do think... the water. I need to have another layer of layer masking, which starts to remove it around her. Otherwise, she looks too invisible, does she not? Especially her face. I think her face is the most important part. It's got to be faded a little bit. It's kind of like every decision you make, the universe splits where you made the other choice. It's cool to think about. It is cool to think about, to be fair. Whether it's real or not. Depending. I suppose it's also fundamentally, it's going to be a pretty difficult thing to prove, huh? But I think the general idea of what would happen had this choice been made differently in my life, how different would I have been? Also, thank you for following, Centauri. Apparently, I must not have sounds on for follows because I always miss it. I just play the stream on -1 speed to counter it increasing. -1 speed. Hold on, you're watching my stream backwards? Quick, tell me how does this thumbnail art turn out? I was just thinking about like the whole chaos theory thing. How much does a chaotic system actually get affected after a long time? If I didn't exist, would Earth be much different 2,000 years from now versus if I did? This is something I always like to think about. It turned out really good. Thank you, Tammy Kitsy. From the future. Like, I mean, I feel like it's a bit macabre as well to be like, what would life be like if I weren't here? But it's also like not macabre at the same time because in a universe where I never existed, so you can't be sad about me not existing, right? I mean, I'm certainly glad I exist, at least in this version of a universe or whatever. And I certainly don't mean it in a way I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I didn't exist anymore. I like existing. I like my life is as it is. But it is curious to think about, you know? Because I think it's sort of like what is the tangible effects of my own existence, you know? Because I think it's hard to sort of really quantify and see, you know, like in the ways that I think the biggest one being like, what like, or perhaps the most optimistic sort of perspective, like what sort of positive ways have I affected people? You know, are there people which like I've inspired one way or another, or people who like had a really dark moment I didn't even realize, and I said something to them and it's like, whoa, that's great. Because I'm not so interested in like how I've affected my friends, because my friends can just tell me how I've affected them. That's like straightforward. I'm interested in like sort of, as you go into like chaos theory, butterfly effect, what effect have I had that's had long-term ramifications on someone which I don't even know, basically. Like I'm trying to think like, oh, I don't know, like maybe like one day I accidentally dropped like a £5 note or something when I was walking about, and you know, I've just been like, oh, that's so frustrating, what happened to it? And then like it turns out that someone picked it up who really needed it for something, because they were like, oh, I need to go catch a bus for this like really important job interview I've got, but I don't have enough money and I left my wallet at home, everything's a mess, and they see £5 on the ground, they grab it, do it, get the job, I don't know, they become very successful in one way or another. Now, I think on a very realistic, practical standpoint, I don't think anything that crazy has probably been, like, I've been the cause of anything that sort of far-reaching down the line. I think in a much more practical sense, the things I have the most influence on are the things in my local sphere. So, you know, like, my friends' like opinions or personalities or, you know, stuff like that, you know, the ways I've influenced them, the ways they've influenced me, or like my inner circles. But it is fun to think about, like, is there someone on like a completely outside of my circle entirely, whose life was hopefully changed for the better because of my own existence? I don't know. And I think there's always something very fun to sort of philosophize and wonder about questions which will never have a definitive answer, like that one. Because truth be told, we're never going to get an answer for that. I'm never going to find that out. Unless, you know, maybe something crazy actually does occur in the afterlife, and I don't know. Maybe I do find out in one way or another, but it's highly, highly unlikely, methinks. Do I want this to be a different colour, these petals? They look a bit too bright. think I want to make them a bit more pink. Should maybe put a bit more red in them? Yeah, there we go. Make them a bit more peach coloured. And then put a bit of a white tinge on them. Oh, absolutely. There's so many random moments I can think of, random people impacting my life in the long term, and one of conversations that led me gaining new favourite songs for years that affect my mood on different days and so. I wonder if I can think of a story of like a stranger who's really affected my life. Oh, I actually can think of a story. So when I was a child, I can't even remember how old I was. I would guess I'm somewhere around like 8 to 10ish or so. Me and my family, we stayed at like some sort of like caravan park for like a week or so for like a vacation. I can't remember. I don't remember where it was. I remember I was very young compared to all the other children which were there, and I remember like wanting sort of in ways to try and sort of play with them, but also them being like, well, you're like tiny, no. You're like a kid, despite the fact that they're only a few years older than me. So I might have been even younger. Maybe I was like 6 or something. But then I remember there was this one kid who was around my age, who I met, and then we became really close friends throughout that entire thing, and we just sort of like bonded. I remember he was camping, we were staying in a caravan. I invited him back to our caravan to meet my family, and we spoke, and then like until like his mum had to go around like the camp being like, where is my child? It was really crazy. Like we really bonded over that moment. I mean, I feel like I think it very much shaped the way of like how I make friends, I suppose, like being more brave, because I was very shy back in the day, and even then like it took me a long time, I think, to not be as shy. But he was very sort of like, yeah, like, come on, let's just be friends, just like that. And then I remember when we left, I remember being so sad for so long, because I was like, that's it, I'm never gonna see him again. And I remember I used to write his name sometimes on the car window, like when it was like foggy or condensation, just in case that he'd randomly pass by and he'd see it and he'd be like, whoa, look, it's DeerDarling. Remember me? Because I remember how sad I was, the fact that I would never see him again. But I think, you know, it taught me about the beauty of the ephemeral moments, you know, things which don't last forever. People come, people go. People have an influence on our lives, and that's that. Sometimes you want them to stay for longer, sometimes they can't, sometimes they can. Who knows? But those memories, those emotions I felt during that time will be permanent, you know? Sorry, no, I completely disregarded what you said because I was saying my own anecdote. What are compounding effects of these influences over time? Like, I don't know, I think of like random number generator seeds. Would a future city have a completely different layout for some reason or something? Or maybe not. I mean, it's always more exciting to think of a possibility of, yes, it would have this sort of effect, right? I guess it's kind of not very fun, a thought experiment, to be like, oh, what if? No, right? It's sort of like the golden rules of improv. You gotta, you say yes and rather than no but. But I think just like following the chain of events is actually what's the most fascinating, being like, how on earth could it even be possible that I would have like an effect on like how a city was structured or something? And I think in some sort of macabre way, not macabre way, but in like a sort of penance way, I'm like, I also wonder like what sort of like negative effects have I caused? You know, did I say something once which, you know, being a stupid child, being a stupid teenager or something, which really stuck with someone and then like shaped their worldview in a negative way, which took them a while to overcome? Like, I want to know that, because then it'd be like, well, if I know that now, maybe I can make amends or something. Or maybe I can learn better. Well, I mean, like, I like to think I'd learn from that point, but I think it's just the sort of the price you pay for living life, isn't it? You'll do good things, you'll have positive influences on people, but you also have very negative influence. Not very. I think we all like to try and aim for not having very negative effects on people. But I think it's just like a realistic part, you know? You can have a bad day, you can say something off, you can have an argument, you can have a fight, and then, you know, that can... Sometimes it's a wrong thing at wrong time. And it's interesting, I think, to think about how that impacts as well. Maybe there's some stranger out there who absolutely hates my guts, who always thinks back and be like, oh man, I remember that one random stranger who, I don't know, just like was really rude or disrespectful. And then my perspective is like, oh, I was just having a really off day and I didn't even know why I said that at that point. Or like, I didn't even realize I was doing that. you know? Like, maybe I bought like the last copy of something and I was like, oh yes, finally. I'm so lucky to get the last copy of this. And then someone comes up like 2 minutes, not but 2 minutes later, couldn't buy it. And was like, damn, I hate this random person who bought the thing I wanted. You know, that I've been searching for, my golden goose. I think it's all of the experiences of being human, of living. In a way, is that you take the good with the bad. Because they are both sort of like tied together. You can't have one without the other. So to accept one is to accept both. And I don't feel like being the type to reject my own humanity by denying the possible cause and effects that one can have. If you get what I mean. Sorry. That was a weird tangent maybe, but yeah. It's interesting to think about. What on earth is this battle doing? Is it doing this? I think it's doing this. But I used to wonder, but I used to think. I sometimes wonder if it would be more relieving or more concerning if I had insight as to how people thought of me or the things I say or do. Would I like what they had to think, or would it be better to not know? I think that's a very fair point to have. And I think I actually have a very boring answer to this. Because my reaction on this is like, yeah, I want to know. It's also like, I think about this because my friend used to do this thing in our sort of like Discord server where she would post like these philosophical, like, it is very thought-provoking insights to you. Where she would ask like these philosophical questions. And I think one thing I realized is how many people are just like, I don't want to know the answer to these things, when I'm like, I do want to know, good or bad. Like, do I want to know if what people truly think of me? In both positive and negative light? Absolutely, yes, tell me. Would it hurt? Probably. If it sucks, yeah. And certainly I think a lot of it, I'll be like, yeah, I kind of already knew that was a negative part of myself, but I think it could also surprise you in certain ways. And how do you grow as a person except with reflection? But also, you know, the truest reflection, I suppose, is a bearing of someone's soul. If you could have a supernatural ability, what would you choose? See, this is also a very interesting question, because my answer to this has always changed throughout the years. Because my go-to answer, when I was younger, has nearly always been shapeshifting. Because, you know, shapeshifting is, in my opinion, a very sort of jack-of-all-trades ability. You can kind of do a lot with shapeshifting. You know, you want to fly, shapeshift into a bird. You want to, like, hold your breath forever, you know, like, shapeshift into, like, a fish or something. And I still sort of stand by that. But I think nowadays as well, it's like, it's also kind of, like, changed a little bit of, like, what priorities I have. Because I think nowadays, if I had the choice, there's two things, because I think it kind of depends. Because on one hand, I would be like, time travel, I think, would be a great superpower to have. But I also think it's a very dangerous superpower, obviously, to have as well. But if it's like a time travel which is like not that destructive necessarily, like if I get time travel powers, there's not going to be like time travel police who are just like, whoa, get her. We got like a deviant time traveler or anything like that, then yeah, I think time travel would be pretty great. I think it's one of the strongest abilities to be able to change things for better as well. I also think, yeah, like, not telekinesis, what's it called? Telepathy is also a really good one as well. Which I think, again, feeds into the idea of, yeah, I want to know. I think I agree, I would want to know as well. But yeah. I also think it depends, like, because I'm like, would I want a power which, because shapeshifting, as well and good as it is, shapeshifting is a pretty hard one to hide, I think, a lot of time, and actually actively use it, you know? It's not like I can be in front of someone and shapeshift and they'll be like, well, that was a totally normal thing which happened. I was talking to someone and then they switched into like a cat or something. But I think telepathy is one which is like, it can be very subtle, you know, like Professor X style, being like, let me guide you, sort of way. And I think there's an appreciation for having superpowers which can be understated. That I have as well. Not in the sense that, like, oh, I think I'm going to be experimented on for, like, government programs or something, but I think just from, like, a day-to-day life. I think for me, it kind of switched from time travel to shapeshifting a while back. I think that's fair. I think shapeshifting is a really good one. I think time travel is also a really good one. I mean, there's very few superpower, like, conventional superpowers, which are like, oh man, I hate having a superpower. Like, I don't know, what would be a conventional one which would suck? Oh, I guess any of them which you don't have control over. If you have control over it, totally fine. I also have a strong appreciation, because time travel can be quite dangerous, I think. Space-time continuum and all that, and how you can break it. But I also have a strong appreciation for the superpower of cloning yourself. Especially if it works like with cloning, where you can like clone yourself, you can go do two separate things, and then you can merge yourself back together and you have the learned knowledge from both. Because it's basically like living many, many lives in parallel, which is very, very interesting. Because I also think it's a very practical one as well, because then it's sort of like, oh well, then I could do a lot of things. I could have like, I could split myself into a clone, and this clone could like really perfect drawing and that sort of thing. I can have another clone like really perfect music or something. It's like the opportunity to live multiple lives, but without the time travel aspect, I suppose. I would say teleporting is mine. I'd be able to get anywhere instantly. No traffic, out of butter while cooking, pop over to the store, grab a butter, cashier, pop home, food isn't burnt, faraway friends in one day for free. Possibilities are endless, but shapeshifting is a close second. I would love to be my first owner IRL. Fair enough. Who wouldn't, I suppose? Or be gender fluid. I can transition whenever I want, whenever I wanted to whatever presentation I was feeling. I think that's also like a great part of shapeshifting as well, I think. Having a lower barrier for just being like, oh yes, I want to be able to present myself differently in one day. Even something like, I want a different haircut, you know, can be great. The issue of time travel is, if I can go back and fix every mistake I've ever made, am I still the same person having not made those mistakes? It depends, I think, how time travel works, because if you keep your memories, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I kind of am the one. With time travel, I can both make the mistake and not make the mistake. In a weird way. Certainly, I think it will have like irreversible changes on who you are and your perspective on life. Like that's why I say time travel is such a dangerous power, because I think it will basically irreversibly change you if you have it. Unlike teleportation, which I mean, the worst thing I think teleportation will do would probably like make you very impatient if you ever have to wait for something. But like time travel straight up will just mess up your entire perspective on living, I think. But I don't know if that's necessarily for good or bad. When you can make every choice, then I suppose you can always make a great choice. One which helps people, benefits people, etc, etc. And if we're thinking about multiverse theory, I suppose as well, then that choice has already been made by a different you in a different time. But telepathy is a really interesting one. I would love that too. Yeah, there's many superpowers I'd love to have. Alas, I am just me, and my superpower is my own existence. What am I doing? I'm doing ripples on the water. That's it. Okay, let's do this. Let's turn up a brush size. Meanwhile, with shapeshifting, I could just chill as a fox in a forest. I think that would be like one of the best parts of shapeshifting is just, oh, I didn't do shadows on the water. Hold on. I should do shadows, and I also should do a reflection, I have just realised, as well, of these petals. Oh, this is such a confusing thumbnail art. Okay, let's do it like this, okay. I'm working out. Okay, copy paste, and it needs to go here, I think. When I do this, then I need to flip it vertically. No, not horizontally. Vertically. No, flip horizontally, rotate around. Yes, there you go. Flip horizontally, rotate around. Probably squish it a bit as well. Flip horizontally, rotate around. Bring it over here, squish it. Time travel would probably be like doing brain surgery on yourself. It has these dangerous feedback loops. Base, that sounds great. I think I'd gain a very strong appreciation for nature as well with time travel. Not time travel. I mean, maybe with time travel, but with shapeshifting as well. There's something very liberating, I think, about the entire process. I don't think I rotated this one correctly. But yeah, just being able to sort of like chill, wander around. I think I would have the most fun just being a bird and just flying around, to be honest. Whoa. I also think so opacity should probably go down to like 60% or so. Yeah, what other good ones are there? I think the unconventional ones are always very interesting. So I certainly don't care that much about having a combat-based superpower. Unless we lived in a world where it's like, oh, we need combat-based superpowers to like live, then maybe, I suppose. But you know, like fire elemental control or something like that. Like I don't need that. What am I gonna do? Telekinesis, I also think, is one of the very sort of practical ones. I also just realised that this is not how reflections work. In some of these cases. No wonder some of these look weird. Oh well, what can you do about it? Have I done this one? No. That's right, we're doing it simply. We don't have to think too hard about it. I think, there we go, there's a reflection. Let's do, what's watermarks? Nothing, that's probably ripples. To do some sort of build up of the little things here and there. We've got to do a very faint sort of like white outline. Bin it out at some places and then also just put in just some ripples here as well. I feel like the best possible version of a time travel power, either the time travel is read-only or you have full control and awareness of a multiverse and can travel back to the one you left if you mess up, or any changes you make wouldn't affect your own personal timeline even if it affects you in the past. Still the you that time travelled from a different past or something. Wait, I need to read this again. Read-only, that's fine, that's like omniscience. Travel back to the one you left if you messed up. Or any changes you make wouldn't affect your own personal timeline, even if it affects you in the past. Yes. Okay, yes, I agree. Like there's a meta timeline or whatever which happens to you in the past. Like there's a timeline which follows you compared to the timeline which you're jumping, timelines I suppose you're jumping around in. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I don't know what I was going to say, but it was something I was going to say about it, but I can't remember it anymore, so much for what I was going to say. Oh yes, I think also a good time travel is like if there's only ever one sort of, well, I mean I guess that's kind of what you said, but I was going to be like if you had like a save load feature from like video games, like quick saving. Because that to me, I think quick saving always feels like there's one just distinct timeline, but I think that's what you were saying about the one meta timeline essentially. That's what quick saving is. It's basically about the meta timeline which follows you. Wow, that is too big a ripple. That is too small a ripple. I thought I put 20 in. I put 2. Yeah, I think these ones could be a bit bigger maybe. Okay, I think that probably gets a point of the water across. I think maybe we'll do just a little bit of this as well. Just to sort of do that, then I think the depth of the petals compared to the shrine itself is probably a little bit off, but you know, whatever. Don't think about it too hard. Yeah, okay, I think that looks good. This is fun. That would be neat. Okay, now do I feel like doing the yokai? I should probably do more water effects, to be honest. I don't know, I do kind of want it to be quite clear water. I guess I can do sparkles or something. That's probably reasonable. Whoa, that's not with sparkles. I don't know, I'm just trying to think how I'd make the water a bit more interesting here. So I guess I'm just trying to sort of look at peaks of it and trying to do some sort of ripply thing. Some sort of like of extraneous ripple effect. Okay, I shouldn't do it while following the clouds. That's going to be pretty hard to read, I think. But something which gives the impression of like something like the sun reflecting in the water, you know? Otherwise it's going to be too reductive, I think. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, let's do some yokai. How much time we got? Probably won't take me too long, I think, to do the yokai. I don't really remember what the yokai was, though. But if you're wondering what part of the original plan was, it was to do. It would be in front of the main tree, be yokai. Yokai. I don't even know if it's in my sketch still. So I think it was only in one of the sketches. not that sketch. Maybe it's only a rough sketch. Where is it? It's not here? Oh, it's probably this background mid. That seems right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yokai. This might be hard to do because I don't want to do too much details. Yeah, yokai. Now that was the original concept of this, is that she's a yokai. Of course, through a bit of a spirit gate. And she would, she's welcoming you and I suppose to a spirit realm. That's why it's a reflection of the water. She appears in the reflection of the water, but she's not here in the actual real life. But I don't want to draw actual, like, yokai. Like, this is too much. I'm looking at this mid-foreground stuff. It's going to be blocked. I think most of it. We could do rough sketches of what it looks like, though. And then decide, but I think, like, quite a bright red might be quite good. I've been staring at the water. Now, if anything, I want to do like spirit fires, I think. Like little wispy things. What are some simple yokai? Maybe that's what I should be looking at. Okay. Simple yokai. Yeah, you have a lantern with the eye, sandal with the eye, the umbrella eye. If I just search yokai in general. I also just realised, I wonder if your yokai question was, what are yokai? I probably should have explained that as well, but basically, what, supernatural folklore thing? Creatures from Japan? Often tied with spirits. Okay, some of these are very difficult yokai. Come on, I should put some of these in. I don't know if I do an Oni. Seems like a lot. But maybe I could do this lantern fella. It's got this sort of tongue he sticks out. And then we can, I don't know, because a lot of these aren't, there's not a lot of space for them, really. We do a kappa here, maybe. What does a kappa look like? I don't know if it's going to have the effect I want, because I think it's going to look like a doodle more than it's going to look like an actual rendered thing. Yeah, it's gonna look like a doodle. I don't think we should do it like this. I think we should just do representative yokai with the shadowy flames. It's either that or I spend like another hour drawing out all these yokai, which I've never drawn before. Think about it, if I've drawn yokai before, I would be more inclined to actually draw them, but I'm like, this time that art's already like a very big one. I think we're okay to simplify it a bit. Let's get some proper flames going up in here. Something like that. Okay. Then let's pick a bit more of a red color, I think. Oh, that's not red. Something should still be pretty bright, and then in the center we can sort of get more of a inner fire sort of shape going on. I guess we could also make them kind of hollow. But I think we're fire enough. Maybe one day when I get better at drawing and drawing faster, or if I stream more, I suppose, then I can do like 8-hour complicated thumbnail arts. Then I'll do. Then maybe we'll do full yokai one. There we go. It's beautiful. Fire. I think a background actually could be a bit darker now I'm looking at it. Or like maybe what I mean is like it should sort of transition to darkness a little bit more early on. Very sort of bright darkness, I think. Maybe we can just make it completely like super dark. Nah. I do think this part should at least be very bright. This part which is above water. Actually, let's do the horizon here. Okay, and then we're going to be very sneaky about this entire thing. I'm going to copy paste. Are we gonna merge all these layers? We're gonna merge all these layers, I think. And then I want to get my fingertip brush. Just sort of smudge things a little bit, you know? Make it feel like it's a little bit underwater. Not sure if I like how I'm doing it. Oh no, I control Z'd too far backwards. And now it's processing. Okay, paste again. Okay, paste again. Merge. Copy, paste. Work on this one. Keep a backup. Because this is too strong. Let's bring it down a notch. What does this mean? I don't know. Whoa. That's a different sort of fingertip. Whoa. There's something fun with it, so to speak. Like, but that's too warped. Okay, obviously. Something smaller, just sort of bring across like that. Bring across like that. More so the background is kind of where I want it to feel like the ripples are. So maybe we do like a... We sort of just stop slightly short of her body, otherwise it looks a bit weird. There we go. That makes it look like it's in the water, right? I'm not sure if it's just on my end, but your screen stream is flickering just the slightest bit. Ooh, that's not good. I don't know why it might be doing that. I wonder if it's because... I wonder what... Oh, maybe I should check what I'm streaming at. I forgot how you do that. What bitrate? Let's see. Output, stream. I also wonder if it's because... Oh yeah, it's fine. I wonder if it's because it's flashing every time I'm doing the blend mode blur. I apologise if it is. But that is done now. So let's put a gradient map on this. This one probably feels the best. Tone it down a bit. Anything, I think I put an overlay mode on it. Give it a sort of glow. And text, let's make this a bit fancier, I think. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe it's fine as it is. No, I think let's... Text. Still like this. Excuse me? Oh, locked layer. How do I write in calligraphy? Calligraphy, writing, English? Japanese calligraphy. English. Okay, maybe something like that. Don't know how I'm gonna do that. I don't know if thematically that feels right. Looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Maybe I just push down a little bit harder. 20. $26. What does it look like before? Oh, I see. Maybe that's fine, I just need a different colour for the outline. Yeah, okay, I think that's fine. I think that gets a point. Like, I think you can see it as a reflection, right? I wonder if I should have made her slightly... Hold on. What does it look like if we made her slightly invisible? Ah, dang. That looks really good. What if we just did that? What if we made her, like, really invisible? Oh, that looks so much better. Oh my gosh, okay, we're gonna have to do it again. Like, she actually looks like a spirit now, like this. Okay, that's fine. Hold on, let's do it like this, because I don't want... You're really good typography, calligraphy skills, thank you. It's not my my strongest showing of it, I think, but I will take that compliment. I think we'll do it like this. I want it to look like she's fading. But I don't want her face to be disappearing, you know? You get what I'm saying? Okay. So now let's do what we just did again. Merge layers, copy, paste, fingertip brush. It's not working at all, apparently. Oh, liquefy. Important for real life is not affected too much. Yeah, okay, I think this works. I think it works pretty well when it's like the shrine you can see is definitely twisted a lot. Okay, do the same thing, 20 degrees, overlay, color harmony. It looks awesome. Told you it looks amazing. How did you know, Dammy Kitsy? Now, is it readable from a distance? Kind of. Let me go over this too a little bit more, just so it's actually got a readable shape to it from a distance. Because once it's so faded out from the top, it's quite hard to see it, I think. Yeah, okay, I think that works. Just a bit more, just a bit more, just a bit more. And clean up whatever that is. Nice. I think we're done. That's a very fun one. Shame I couldn't do it all the yokai, but I'm just like, you gotta call it at some point. You can't keep going on things forever. Or just like the ephemeralness of that one friend I had about one summer camp at one time. Not a summer camp. Camping site at one time. Whoa, hold on a minute. We should put that underneath because otherwise that would happen. Okay, so we do that, take off the text. And this will be the new hold screen. I think I export it as full resolution. That sounds right. Wonderful. Let's update that now then. Browse. Boom. What do we think about that? Look at that. Gorgeous. I feel like every new time I do a new thumbnail art for a stream, I'm just like, this is my new favourite one. Well, this one is also my new favourite one. It looks great. Well, look at that. And there we go. Just under 2 hours of a stream, this catch-up stream. I don't even know if I have anyone to raid, to be honest, but I will run a 1 minute advert right at the end. This is your thanks for sticking along as you get an advert. I don't have anyone to raid. No one I follow is online, okay. We can raid a small channel, let's see. What are people working on? This is the second one in a row that contains fox content, isn't it? That's true. There's 2 foxes in a row here. Clearly I got quite a bias towards foxes. Well, the amount of foxes that I have who watch me. Perhaps that's true. I actually don't even know if you can hear me right now because I think ads might be playing. Who's doing something interesting? This person looks like... Okay, hold on. I need to mute my desktop audio so you can't hear what I'm listening to. What if I sent you to a fox? I have no idea what they're talking about. My friend Jack Noble 5 is streaming. We could do that. I think he's doing game development today. Well, let's go check him out. Jack Noble 5, EP Wolfie coding away. Happy Pride Month. They have a fox? Let's do it. Let's raid them. Cool. Yes. So thank you for joining on this very impromptu random stream. Just to finish off as thumbnail art. I don't know if there's going to be a stream this Sunday. That is still up in the air. It depends on if my plans, because there are current plans right now, which I don't know if are going to happen or not. But we'll see. I'll try and let you know as soon as I can. But otherwise, yeah, we'll be next time starting the June thumbnail art. Happy Pride, everyone, of course. Which rainbows always have to feature somehow in the June thumbnail art. But apart from that, go say hi to Jack Noble 5 for me. Be great ambassadors, and thank you all for coming along. Thank you all for coming along. And get I'll probably pop in and say hi at least to Jack Noble 5. Okay. Take care, everyone. There we go. Stop the stream. Mute the desktop audio. I don't have a stream up. Let's go say hi. I'm always way too late when the raid comes out. I always miss what they say. Let's see. Oh yeah. I hope you'll have a lovely stream. There you go. Alright, stop recording now.